Placentia community. This is Eric Holmgren, your ambassador at large with the Placentia Chamber of Commerce. And today we are joined by Cindy DeMint of Brothers on a Quest. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
It's so good to see you. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
Excited to be here and be a member in your chamber.
Well, good. It is the best chamber in the universe.
That's what I hear.
Yes, you'll discover it. It's really true. It's really true. So, can you tell me a little bit about your organization?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So, I have 4 children. 3 of them were diagnosed with a rare disease called Ataxia. And we had never heard of it. No one's really ever heard of it. And we went down through the journey to find out how they got it. And it is genetic. And I have a gene and my husband has a gene. And then we gave both those genes to 3 out of our 4 kids. They're adult men now and are completely wheelchair bound. So they grew up playing sports, hockey, baseball, soccer. And about 20, they started losing their balance. They looked drunk. And it took us many doctors to find out what it was and got the diagnosis. So I found myself getting involved on the national level. And with that, we knew we had to find a cure for the type that my kids have. So we started our own foundation to do that.
Hence Brothers on a Quest, because
Yes.
3
Yes.
of the boys.
So my daughter, who didn't get the disease, she said, "Mom, we've got to do something." And so she started the foundation, is the president of the foundation, and she started it for her brothers. So.
Okay. And usually with this particular disease, obviously it has different ways that it manifests itself. But for the genetic one, is it usually something that manifests itself later in adolescence or early adulthood?
Well, that's a good question. So the answer would be no. It depends on the type.
Okay.
And the type my kids have is AOA2, Oculomotor Apraxia. It'll end up affecting their optic nerve also, and they could be blind besides all the muscle issues. But there's other types of ataxias that they get it, when they're first born. They start noticing they can't make the milestones of crawling or pulling themselves up on the couch. But the real main type of ataxia, the hereditary type, they usually don't discover it until they're older.
Okay.
So they've already had a job, they've already had a family, they've already
Right.
been able to drive and do those things. And all of a sudden they're like, well, I have inner ear, or maybe it's vertigo, and they go down the path till they have an MRI. You can see where the cerebellum in the brain has been affected and is just degenerating away. So we got the diagnosis, when my first son was 20.
Right.
And then had the other, kids tested. And my daughter is ataxia free. She doesn't
Right.
have either gene. And my grandkids then, of course, are ataxia free, which is
Well, that's
great.
good. Yeah.
That's a blessing for us. And then we had the younger boys tested. They weren't symptomatic, but we thought, well, let's find out if they have it. And sure enough, they also have the disease.
So with the foundation, what is it that you're principally trying to do?
So I think the main thing is awareness, right? And, no one's ever heard of it. Ataxia is a weird name, but it is a movement disorder.
Right.
And it can be hereditary like mine, or it can be acquired. So you could be in a car accident or have a stroke and your cerebellum could be damaged and you would still have those same symptoms of ataxia. So raising awareness has been big. I'm very much involved with advocating Ataxia Awareness Days.
Okay.
Ours is September 25th in Orange County, and we're hoping to do some events around that next
Okay.
year. And then obviously we're trying to raise money to find a treatment or to find a cure.
Okay.
And our Brothers on a Quest outlet for our research is UCLA. We have a doc there that is looking into possibly getting into animal trials next year, treatment, and maybe find a drug that would stop the progression of the disease.
Right, slow
which
it
would be
down.
which would be huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. That sounds very exciting. And then usually with your foundation, you're collecting donations or you're doing different activities that help raise funds.
Yeah, so if you want more information, you can go to
Okay.
And we have a short film that was filmed about the boys getting their diagnosis. It's a kind of a neat film that they could watch, about 12 minutes long. And then there's a donation button there if they'd like to donate. But I always like to say that ataxia is the worst disease that you've never heard of. And so really getting the awareness out is really important.
So what are some mechanisms that you've done to try to overcome the challenge of awareness, raising awareness for the disease?
So I've been able to get the National Ataxia Foundation. September 25th is Awareness Day, and I've been able to get Orange County proclamation done this year that September 25th is Orange County Awareness Day. And then in the city of Yorba Linda, where we live, it has also been a proclamation for that. So my hope is to get Placentia on board and start getting cities on board where I have members in my support group that have this disease, and go all the way up the state of California. And we've already got the National Ataxia Foundation, and we work very closely with them. And so it's a long journey, maybe not a journey I thought I'd be on, but my husband and I are committed. And the boys are all in wheelchairs now. They really deteriorated pretty fast, but then they've stayed on this plateau. So if we can keep them there and keep their body strong by working out. They work out 3 days a week. We have a home gym, and we have trainers that come and work them out and donate their time. And it's just, really opened our eyes to rare diseases and why, we need more funds for that.
Well, that is true. And it's very sad when these tragedies happen. And the challenge is, of course, how we respond to it. Life is always throwing wrenches at us.
Absolutely.
And,
I just knew I couldn't sit still.
Yeah.
I felt like I would get involved. And obviously, Yorba Linda was our city that we lived, but we chose Placentia as the home for Brothers on a Quest, and we're really happy that we did. And I'm really happy to be involved with the chamber and meet all the people and see how I can help network them too.
Well, good. Well, we have a very kind and compassionate and energetic community here at the Placentia Chamber. So I'm really hoping that we'll be able to help you out with your program, and crossing our fingers that some sort of cure comes along or some sort of treatment comes along, because it sounds like the sort of thing that, like a great many things in life, you have no control over. And having some way of dealing with it would be helpful for everybody, not just your boys, obviously, but the wider world, for that matter.
No, exactly. And, I have to be thankful my youngest son was able to find a bride, and he got married 3 years ago, and they live on their own, and, she cares for him, and, they kind of work together and all their household chores and all that, and the other two do live with me, and so I am their full-time caregiver at this point. But life goes on. Just do what you can.
Yeah. Well, and Cindy, it was great to chat
Nice
with you
to
and
meet you
learn
too,
more
and
about
see-
your
thank
program.
you for having me
Is there
again.
anything else you'd like to share with our Placentia friends before we wrap up?
Well, again, if you want to find out more about ataxia, you can go to brothersonaquest.org and hear our story. And if you happen to know someone that has some symptoms, please reach out to me. I would love to be a help to them or their caregiver and help them out in any way.
Terrific. Well, until our next episode, be well.